Hello everybody, my name is Raccoon Bro VA and welcome back to another reaction video. We've returned to Smash Bracket and this is a pretty long one, so I think we'll just go ahead and get into it. It's Pit vs. Samus. I enjoy Super Metroid, and Kid Icarus Uprising is my favorite game with bad controls, so I'm pretty excited about the characters. Let's just go ahead and get into this bad boy, shall we?
Welcome to Smash Bracket.
I got a good feeling
about
this one.
Who is canonically the strongest character in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate by researching them and placing them all in a giant animated tournament.
That's what
Today,
we
we're
do.
looking at Pit, the guardian angel of Kid Icarus, versus Samus from Metroid. I asked for your thoughts in anticipation for this episode and have honestly been blown away by the general positivity and welcoming response to this matchup. I'm super proud of it and excited to show it to you, and I know we can't please everybody, but this is the kind of response that makes me feel all fuzzy in the versus community.
What is this? What?
Weirdest matchups known to man. I'm sorry, but the choices of matchups are so... They need to work on how they present information. Bro, what are these matchups? Smash bracket moment. All right, no. You know what? I take back everything I just said. I can please everyone. That's a healthy mentality. I've done it before and I can do it again. This is a cool matchup, I promise. You want drama? I'll give you drama. You want connections? Oh boy, do I have connections. You want romance? I've got okay, we're gonna have to wait and see on that one. But kick back, relax, and let's find out who's gonna win between Samus Aran and Pit. This one's for you, Jason. In order to explain this, though, we've got to set up our fighters, starting right off with Samus Aran. It's hard to think of a more iconic female hero in gaming, and it's even harder to think of a more capable one. We're talking about somebody who's wiped out hordes of enemies in the coolest possible way just because it's the right thing to do. Somebody who, despite their traumatic past, never hesitates to look their deepest fears straight in the eyes and blast the crap out of them with rockets. We're talking about the kind of warrior who's sent in to secure entire planets by herself when the entire galactic Federation was incapable.
Does anyone want to see a live-action Metroid?
We're talking about Samus.
I feel like that would be better animated. Up. Good.
Now, despite the imposing power she displays in her games, Samus wasn't always like this. She was raised on a remote, peaceful planet.
Definitely plan on getting Dread
along with her
eventually.
parents and pet rabbit squirrel Pyonki. Together, they mined rare crystals called a Floraltite and kept watch over the planet on behalf of the Galactic Federation. Everything was perfect. Until the planet was ransacked by a group of space pirates led by potentially the most evil Nintendo character in all of existence. A ruthless, draconic space pirate named Ridley. You see, Ridley wanted some of that Floraltite for himself, but rather than ask for it, he did the next best thing. He ordered his army to rip every resident of the planet apart limb by limb and torched the place. Now, remember, this is a peaceful mining planet full of scientists going up against an army of seasoned space terrorists. It was an absolute massacre. But in spite of this disaster, one 3-year-old toddler named Samus believed that this could all still be settled with peace. She told Ridley that despite his appearances and despite his actions, they could still be friends and she didn't need to be scared of him. Ridley returned the sentiment by attempting to slaughter her on the spot. At the last second, Samus's mother pushed her out of the way and was reduced to a charred corpse right in front of her own daughter. This sacrifice was accompanied by a distraction from Samus's father, who exploded the planet's entire supply of a Floraltite, killing himself in the process. The diversion worked, though, and Ridley spared Samus, leaving the planet in a fit of rage.
Really nice looking.
Not before devouring Samus's mother to heal his wounds with her flesh. Just like that, everybody that Samus knew and loved was gone. In fact, she was the only survivor on a planet now littered with corpses of the past. Men, women, and children that she knew her whole life, now gone. And she was absolutely powerless to do anything.
I know Kirby's planet was destroyed,
this attack was noticed
but
by a benevolent bird-like alien
that's
race
probably
called
the
Chozo.
most tragic Nintendo character backstory,
right? To their home world of Zebes. Unfortunately for Samus, this planet was also totally inhospitable for humans, and they didn't think that she'd last more than a few days. But fortunately for Samus, once again, these aliens were some of the most technologically advanced in the universe, and they solved this little problem by infusing her DNA with that of the Chozo who found her, Grey Voice. And they also mixed in a splash of DNA from the Chozo's greatest warrior, Ravenbeak, for good measure. They wanted to ensure that Samus would never have to feel that kind of helplessness that she felt on K2L ever again. So they trained her to become a true warrior, unlike the galaxy had ever seen.
She's a freaking superhuman.
Which was made even easier by an unexpected side effect of the Chozo DNA. Samus found that she had enhanced agility, speed, strength, reflexes, and durability. The whole super soldier cocktail, with one added twist. The Chozo also possess a limited amount of psionic ability to see into the future. This ability passed down to Samus in a limited capacity, allowing her a spider sense-like awareness of attacks before they come,
I did not know
letting her
that.
get in an easy counterstrike. To accompany this, she was also given a highly advanced Chozo power suit to augment her physicality even more, and grant her access to powerful weapons.
It's beautiful.
Not only is this thing powerful, but it's also controlled by her thoughts and can be summoned to her body at will. By the time that she was 14, she'd pushed far beyond what any human should have ever been capable of. After over a decade of trauma, Samus finally had the chance to find the people who stole her family and get revenge. And this revenge was made possible by the massively powerful weapons her base suit came equipped with. Her arm cannon could fire missiles, which by themselves are powerful enough to blow up giant monsters like this. And this damage is rivaled
Oh my god.
by her suit's bombs, which can destroy stone in its regular form, and with her power bomb, she can clear entire rooms of debris. What stands apart from both of them, though, is her standard arm cannon. This thing can rapid fire shots 3 at a time that go through solid objects, and she can fire nearly 100 of these shots per second. For true firepower, though, Samus can charge her cannon
Why'd you have to remind me of Federation Force?
for a massive blast of plasma energy. Just by itself, this shot was able to damage enemies that even her super missiles or power bombs couldn't even scratch, such as when she had to fight a perfect clone of herself at her max power. But Samus can push this power even further with good technique. By hopping over an enemy and shooting them point blank in the face, Samus can use Overblast and increase her beam's damage by a factor of 7. And she can exceed this power even further with Lethal Strike, which uses a specially focused blast on a downed enemy that's capable of instantly killing just about everything that Samus comes across. Ultimately, these tools gave her the power that she needed to track down and take out the space pirates. Unfortunately for her, by the time she found the space pirates, it was too late. They had invaded her new home planet of Zebes, and it wasn't long before Samus came face to face once more with Ridley.
There's the boy.
Seeing him alongside all of the carnage now strewn around Zebes brought back all of the memories of the K2L massacre. The fear and trauma was so painful that she begged her comrades to kill her on the spot, ending things once and for all. But through this pain, there was a voice of reason that got through to her. Grey Voice, the Chozo that had saved Samus back on K2L.
The Grey Voice of
implored her
reason.
to use her pain as a motivation to help those across the galaxy from ever feeling the way that she did right at that moment. And then Ridley stabbed him through the throat and burned him to a crisp right in front of her.
No!
Samus and Ridley had an epic showdown in which Samus was finally able to beat the nightmare of her childhood for like the first time out of 8.
Yeah.
And although the memories of his evil would haunt her forever, in the wake of this victory,
Smash.
Grey Voice's final words rang in her mind. She
Oh.
would use this pain and fear as
Cool.
fuel to protect the universe from suffering.
That's a good
Wherever there was
Samus
someone who
design.
needed her help in the galaxy, she would be there to save them, no matter the cost. So she composed herself, hopped in her gunship, and set off to become the greatest bounty hunter to ever live. Samus sees herself as somewhat of a mama bear of the galaxy, being there to protect it wherever she's needed and go after anyone who puts it in danger. And to achieve this goal, she has decked herself the crap out with weapons, armors, and abilities like the world has never seen. When fighting a deadly radiation called Phazon on the planet of Talon 4, she upgraded her charge shot that I mentioned earlier with light and dark energy, which gave her access to new attacks that she could use to set her enemies on fire in an explosion of light, freeze them indefinitely inside of a life-draining dark energy, or combine these light and dark energies to create the Annihilator Beam, which can fire disruptive homing shots to stun her enemies. And she can mix any of these beams with her missiles to fire devastating charge combo attacks. The two most relevant of these are the Sonic Boom, which bombards her enemy by tearing open a hole in space-time on top of them, or the Dark Burst, which tears open
what?
an enemy by tearing open a hole in space-time on top of
What?
them, or the Dark Burst,
What the
which
hell?
tears open a portal to an alternate dimension and pulls the
Oh my
enemies through it,
gosh,
removing
no.
them from battle entirely.
That's
If she
scary.
ever runs low on missiles to fuel these with, Samus can use her admittedly very
know Pit's
weird
gonna have
ability
to deal
called
with a black
concentration
hole.
to raise her blaster in the air for a few seconds. Doing so fully restocks her missile supply and heals her back to full health just by raising her arm in the air for some reason. And that's not all her blaster can do. While fighting other deadly bounty hunters, Samus gained the ability to shoot balls of magma, deadly light speed lasers, stun guns with terawatts of voltage, and supercooled plasma that approaches temperatures of absolute zero. And all of these abilities are only made easier to land with that premonition I mentioned earlier. Her counter can let her know when an enemy is about to attack
I
a
still
short
can't believe
while before it
Spidey
launches,
since
and she
Samus
can use
is
this
real.
window to knock their attacks out of the way and blast them with a weapon.
Okay,
Or she could use her
alright,
ability called Sense
alright.
Move, which grants her intangibility while she dodges. and it also allows her to instantly fire a charge shot.
As
with
dumb
none
as
of the
Other M
charging,
is,
but all of
I
the power.
do like
with the effective use
the way
of this
she
sense
looks when she's
ability,
dodging around.
Samus
It's
can
pretty
achieve
cool and
near
snappy
constant
animation.
intangibility while firing her most lethal attacks. Not only can she do this in her power suit, but she can also pull off the same maneuver in her Zero suit, using nothing more than her physicality and a stun gun capable of shattering stone.
It
But
leads
speaking
Zero
of
to
the
the
power suit, we should
imagination.
talk about some of the other ways that she's upgraded herself over the years. She has had a lot of armor upgrades, and I'm going to throw them all in the sidebar right now for you.
Okay.
But the most relevant ones here are
we go.
extreme resistant to heat, cold, acid, and viruses, and a 75% reduction of all damage she takes. The suit also provides her a 30% speed boost, which she can use to launch herself through the air like a human missile with her Shine Spark ability. These suits are also really good at absorbing energy. She was once able to absorb a powerful material called Ion. I don't know.
What?
To give her access to powerful abilities
just say
like an armor
Aeon.
made out of lightning, the ability to turn invisible, the power to shift through attacks at high speed, or the ability to slow time by 50% for everybody but herself. And rather than having this Ion energy be a one-and-done scenario, her body began producing it organically, allowing herself near constant access to this power. All of these abilities would be deadly on their own, but Samus has trained her body to superhuman levels in order to best serve and protect the galaxy. This is on full display in the manga Samus and Joey, which takes place just before Metroid Fusion. In this story, Samus unwillingly takes on a human sidekick named Joey, and whether you want to call it overambition or stupidity,
This is starting
Joey
to sound
was
a little
really
Mandalorian.
good at getting them into trouble. Like when they got blasted by this giant explosion that could be seen from space, but true to form, Samus basically just shrugged it off. And this other time, Joey got taken hostage and a bad guy had a gun pointed to his head. Rather than negotiate, Samus dared him to fire. And in the time it took the bullet to leave the barrel and reach Joey's head from like an inch away, Samus blitzed forward and grabbed the bullet out of the air while shooting the enemy through the chest. And that isn't even as impressive as this one time that Samus decided she needed to chart an entire supercluster of 5 galaxies. And rather than asking for a map, she did the next best thing. Fly to every single planet in all 5 galaxies one by one. And she didn't have any autopilot to help her out here. This was all the
Megaman.exe moment
of stick shift. And later, while in a race with another ship, she pulled a hidden lever to make her ship go even faster than it's ever gone before.
I like
and
that
while
face.
this was happening, the guy was being a real nuisance. So Samus decided she needed to take matters into her own hands. She left the wheel, ran to the back of her ship, popped out of the top of it, and fired a shot to destroy the enemy ship, all while moving fast enough to not lose control of her ship. Now, I know that this has been like drinking from a fire hose of information. There has been a lot of Metroid content.
What the
over the
fuck?
years. But it all comes together to form the single most skilled warrior in the Metroid universe. One who can effortlessly wipe out a room of 100 highly skilled soldiers all trying to gun her down at once.
What was that clip from?
And
Oh my
whose
god.
name alone strikes fear into the hearts of criminals across the galaxy. And all of this is done in spite of the pain and fear in her life, and in spite of the post-traumatic terror that's haunted her for her entire existence. All Samus wants to do is protect people with every last bit of strength she has, right up until the end.
Aww.
So, are you sold yet, Jason? Did you hear the list of abilities? I'd call that animation potential. You hear the soundtrack? I call that music potential. And who could possibly make for a good connection for someone like this? How about someone whose game was developed by the same team as Metroid, a game that ran off of the exact same engine as Metroid, and heck, a game that has Metroids? Well, kind of. All led by an incredibly powerful warrior who travels through space and fights space pirates out of a desire to protect humanity and serve a higher purpose. That's right, today I'm talking about everybody's favorite illiterate Icarus, Hit. And to help further increase the hype, I've asked a friend of the channel and fan of Kid Icarus, Raccoon Bro, to help break it all down.
I couldn't hold it in any longer. I'm in the episode. I'm excited for this. I haven't seen the video part for this, so I'm really looking forward to how it came out.
Side note, go check out his channel. It's full of some really fun versus community content.
Heck yeah. Also, the occasional video essay about random stuff like smiling friends.
It's in the description below, but anyway, take it away.
Thanks, Inc. Glad to be here. Especially since I get to talk about a character from my favorite video game with donkey butt controls.
If it hurts your
While Samus is a deeply damaged, stoic warrior who wants to protect humanity, Pit comes to the same goal from a different angle. To explain what I mean, we've got to go back to the beginning. Long, long ago, gods and men lived together in peace. Much of this harmony happened in the peaceful kingdom of Angel Land, which was ruled by two beautiful
I'm geeking
goddesses,
out here. I love Gidicarus.
Palutena, the goddess of light, and Medusa, the goddess of darkness. Now, I'm gonna let you take a wild guess at which one of them turned evil and tried to destroy humanity. While Palutena loved humanity and blessed them with clear skies and delicious food, Medusa thought humanity sucked. So she destroyed their crops and turned everyone into statues. Oh, so that's why people want Palutena to fight Celestia.
I had no clue Celestia is, but the fact this person specified the fight takes place in Kirby's Dreamland is funny to me. Aw. You know what? Fair enough, Ink. We can't all be bronies. We can't all be bronies.
Well, it turns out that Palutena didn't care much for her people getting stoned, and retaliated by cursing Medusa. She turned her—
Now, full disclosure, I did get a script for this, but some of the stuff like that I did ad-lib, so apologies in advance for making you find impromptu visuals, Ink.
into a snake monster and banished her to the underworld. Now, I'm not an expert or anything, but banishing to the underworld sounds a whole lot like a flowery way of saying she just killed the crap out of her. But regardless, something about being turned into a monster and getting sent to hell didn't sit right with Medusa, and fortunately for her, Palutena just sent her to a realm full of disposable, monstrous, undead soldiers. She began building an army of underworld soldiers and launched a full-scale counter-assault on Angel Land.
Angel Land would be that way.
The sheer size of this army turned the attack into a one-sided massacre. Palutena's army was totally destroyed, being either murdered or turned to stone. Left without anyone to defend her, Palutena was taken captive and imprisoned by Medusa's forces. In the wake of this tragedy, Palutena was left with only one hope: a young angel who was able to avoid the conflict, named Pit. She telepathically reached out to him and asked for his help to single-handedly try to take down an army that just wiped out everyone Pit knew and loved. Sheesh, no pressure. He had no allies. He had no wings. He barely had any weapons. But Pit still found the hope within himself to fight. Enemy by enemy, Pit cut his way through the underworld. He quickly proved himself to be somewhat of a one-man army as he easily tore through the ranks of Medusa's army of darkness. He wasn't just stuck with his bow for the entire time, though. He also picked up a few items along the way to aid him in his journey.
Hello,
One of the
credit
most useful
card.
was a bottle of angelic water that automatically prevents Pit from dying if he
To
takes
death.
a lethal blow. And by using a special barrel, he can carry 8 of these at a time. He also made sure to get a credit card to use on the black market, which is random, but alright. And he picked up some special one-use mallets to deal massive damage to his enemies. And he never needs to worry about running out of these things either, because of the deadliest weapon in his early arsenal, a harp. Not
There we
just
go.
any harp, though. Just by touching this thing, Pit can transform every enemy near him into a hammer, instantly killing them and adding them to his arsenal of weapons like some holy General Grievous. But it was going to take more than arrows, hammers, and credit cards to beat the Goddess of Darkness. So Pit sought out a legendary set of weapons called the 3 Sacred Treasures. These were legendary for a reason. Heck, they were so useful that just by wielding them, Pit took on the name Amazing Pit. How sweet the sound. These treasures consisted of a bow that could shoot arrows of pure energy that travel at the speed of light, a mirror shield and silver armor that reflect projectiles and reduces damage taken by 50% respectively, and finally the wings of Pegasus that grant the bearer unlimited flight. With these powers, Pit was able to fight his way through endless evils,
This is a
slay
really
the
cool
Goddess of
looking
Darkness,
animation.
and rescue Palutena, who thanks Pit in a few different ways depending on how well you did during the game. Now,
Here we go. I hadn't actually played the NES game, so this is the part of the script that it was not acting. I was actually just watch.
worst ending, she thanks Pit by, oh god, transforming him into a hideous monster and sending him away? Okay, old habits die hard, I guess. But in the best ending, she turns him into a buff, hunky man and kisses him? I'm just gonna go ahead and pretend that one isn't canon. Holy crap, just give the kid a Lunchable or something. But maybe this
Thank you for leaving that one in.
Funkiness was worth the cursed cutscene. Pit is physically powerful enough to turn boulders to dust with a single strike, destroy giant space pirate battleships, and most impressively of all, he's strong enough to shatter the fourth wall. And to those who haven't seen my videos, believe me when I say fourth wall breakers are really annoying to deal with. As for this fourth wall breaker, he's cursed his balanced gameplay, directly referenced his time in Super Smash Bros., which is confusing for our purposes today to say the least. And he's even commented on how one of his enemies looked just like a Metroid. Funny how time travel works. But this adventure set off a long servitude / mother-son / big sister-little brother / whatever Twilight and Celestia are
Thank you.
relationship for Pit and Palutena. He became the official captain of her Centurion army and was always at her beck and call if she ever needed his help. Every time Palutena and Angel Land were in danger, Pit was right there to help. Whether it was as big as fighting off a demon so evil that just saying his name turned people to stone, or as simple as helping Palutena out with a grocery run. As time went on, Pit's power, along with Palutena's faith in him, grew more and more. She blessed him with special powers to carry into combat, and while he's technically drawing this power from an outside source, that power is such a vital part of his moveset that not allowing them on a technicality would be a disservice to the character. There's a clear difference between allowing a character to have his most iconic powers versus something like calling Palutena herself into battle.
True.
Whether these powers
True.
are being granted
True.
by Palutena or when they were temporarily granted by the goddess of nature Viridi, aka Starfire, that one's for you, Steve. Pit is able to masterfully use these to become a serious threat.
Don't worry, I'm gonna show him that one.
The most iconic is his power of flight, which allows Pit to fly freely without the aid of his Pegasus wings for up to 5 minutes. Should Pit try to push beyond this time limit, his wings will be burned up, causing potentially fatal injuries. Flight is far from Pit's only ability, though. He can fire giant lasers, create massive explosions, summon meteors, and can even create pseudo-black holes. When Pit had a run-in with a magical mirror of truth, rather than using it to turn one ice cream sundae into 2 ice cream sundaes like he had planned, he accidentally
That looked actually
duplicated
really
himself
beautiful.
to create a dark counterpart of himself called Dark Pit, whom Pit affectionately called Patu. While he originally was an adversary to Pit, as time passed, they grew a tentative
Patu.
friendship and became valuable training partners for each other. As a result, Pit became a master of combat and specializes in 9 different types of weapons. And these aren't your run-of-the-mill weapons for mere mortals. These were crafted by and imbued with the power
I love
of
that
gods.
movie.
As such, each weapon has both close-range combat and long-range projectile capabilities. Pit's signature bows allow him to shoot blasts of magical energy, which he can split into twin swords for melee combat and summon down a storm of arrows. Blades can slice things up and be fired like a machine gun. Cannons are like magical grenade launchers that fire massive concussive blasts, while orbiters hover around Pit's shoulders to provide him cover. Pit also has a variety of weapons that specialize in close-range combat, such as clubs, claws, arm cannons, and magical tattoos called palms that use Pit's unlimited life energy to fire blasts of magic energy. If Pit finds himself at long range, his staffs function as a sort of magic sniper rifle. Using his most powerful weapons, Pit had enough damage output to defeat Patu in a single shot, who was his exact clone. But Pit's mastery with these weapons aren't even what makes them so scary. He can increase his power with weapon modifiers and equip powers for extra versatility. These allow him to turn his targets to stone, reduce his opponent's max health by 50%,
Look at
automatically
that.
target an enemy's weak point, transform them into a tempura fried shrimp and an eggplant, or just straight up instantly kill his opponents upon impact. Okay, yeah, that last one wasn't nearly as creative. He just literally killed that guy. These abilities can also enhance his movement. They allow him to increase his speed, automatically dodge incoming attacks, or more effectively navigate around an enemy by blinding them. If that still proves insufficient, Pit can become invincible for 16 seconds, automatically counter incoming attacks, choose to heal from attacks that would otherwise kill him, turn invisible and intangible, automatically reflect incoming attacks, steal a random ability from his opponent, or feign his own death to trick his opponent and allow for a surprise attack. But if Pit really needs a boost to his strength, he could call in the Great Sacred Treasures, which is essentially a giant mech suit that grants Pit access to deadly tornadoes, flames, laser beams, and a giant laser sword? Oh, it's so anime. With the strength of this suit, Pit can match the strength of gods with
I ad-libbed
blows
that
so
one,
powerful
too.
that the shockwaves alone can shatter a small mountain range. But Pit is impressive even without his suit. Just on his own, he's fast enough to fly to space in a short amount of time, and he was able to steer the legendary lightning chariot as it moved 3 times the speed of light, while he's not making any crazy huge arm movements here. Even just the minimal adjustment he makes while flying requires him to move around 700 times the speed of sound. And if speed wasn't enough for you, he's also so durable that when this chariot slammed into a barrier at its max speeds, Pit was totally fine afterwards. All this strength and all these abilities came together to allow Pit to overcome insurmountable odds time and time again. But these things aren't what make Pit such an incredible fighter, though. Pit gives each battle he approaches maximum effort and devotion. He has complete and total trust in Lady Palutena and enthusiasm to battle for her name, willing to face down overwhelming evil with optimism and a dauntless battle cry. He's able to keep up hope and faith even in the most dire of situations, whether he's fighting against an opposing army, literal gods, or even a good-hearted space bounty hunter. Pit is sure to give the battle everything he's got with an arrow in his quiver and a smile on his face. Not bad for a guy who can't read.
Underling of Medusa floating before me! It's time for you to atone for your crimes! I am Pit, servant of the goddess of light, and you are history!
What was that all about?
Well, I'd best be headed home. Hopefully Nate and Deadpool haven't burned down the place by now. Thanks for having me, and here's to a fair fight. Back to you, Ink.
All right, I've looked over everything it takes to make a good matchup. I've even enlisted outside help. We've got animation potential.
Here we go.
Check.
Here we go. Here we go.
Crossover material.
Wait, what did that say?
Matchup. I've even enlisted
It makes it okay.
outside help. We've got
Fair
animation potential. Check. Crossover material. Check. Music potential.
Materia.
Check. Debatable matchup.
Materia.
Check. Analysis potential. Check. Connection between the fighters. Check. I've done it. We have created the perfect versus matchup. And you know what, Jason? If this didn't do it for you, I don't know what to say. That said, all of this potential is wasted.
Jason,
We can't successfully
you better
stimulate
like
it.
this.
So without further ado, let's get into the fight and find out who will win and advance on to the next round of the Smash Bracket.
Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Hello, Pichu. Oh. It's so scary. Get out of here, little one. I shall save you. Not bad. We're getting a Trish versus John moment here.
Oh, Samus! What a surprise! Your armor looks so good in the dust clouds. Hey, is that a new cannon?
You can exchange numbers after the fight, Casanova.
Hey, that's a good Variety voice too.
Samus Aran, in the name of Lady Palutena, I, Pit, servant of the goddess and protector of all that is good. Well, I guess not all that is good. I can't stand vegetables, and Lady Palutena says those are good for me, but Pitu just says that's Big Veggie trying to spread its propaganda, so it's up to interpretation. In any case, I, Pit, challenge you to a fight. Oh, hey, oh, wait! Pitu has that taken care of. I'm your opponent, remember?
Oh.
Verity? I don't think she's listening. Maybe I can fight someone else from Metroid. Is Ridley taken yet?
Keep trying, Pit. If nothing else, you'll probably annoy her into fighting.
Oh,
Verity,
interesting.
I think she's annoyed.
Great! I'll get popcorn.
Yeah.
I didn't catch the first thing she said.
Fighting. Keep trying, Pit. If nothing else, you'll probably annoy her into fighting.
Oh, no, yeah.
Popcorn.
I like. She's fighting her so that he doesn't fight because she's scared that he'll die if he fights Ridley. So that's cool. Whoa! Oh damn!
You missed? Maybe you should have warmed up first.
Alrighty then, let's turn up the heat.
Alrighty. Ooh. Oh damn.
It's too cramped, I can't fly in here.
She's narrowing down your options, but you should be alright as long as you don't lose sight of her.
Uh-oh. You were saying? Nice. Oh, that sucks.
This is over. Go home.
No, it's not. As long as people are counting on me, as long as I still breathe, I won't give up.
Damn. Whoa.
Give up!
Yeah, come on, Pit. Some really good music too.
Brady, I need the sacred treasures.
Are you crazy? Get out of there while you still can!
I'm not running, and that won't keep her down long. This is our only shot.
Your wings are damaged, and we already used the power of flight. If the Pegasus...
I know what will happen, but they will hold out. They have to.
Okay. Come on, Pit. Woo.
Pit, you need to stop flying.
No! Palutena's counting on me. I can do this.
Gotcha.
Now, this is over. Please give up.
Oh, sheesh. Woo! Come on, come on, come on! That's so good. Ooh. Haha. No more armor, Tony. Just you and me, man to man. Whoa.
It's gonna be alright, Pit. You did your best.
Dang.
Oh, I love that animation so much.
Aw.
Big thanks to Cheetomon YT for helping us throw this together, and to
Poor Pit. I honestly thought he would have it, but I honestly, at the same time, Samus had a lot of stuff that I didn't realize she was capable of. So, you know, claps to Samus.
Air Caves on the writing team for this being their first full script they wrote by themselves. Now, on my community tab, this was a pretty clear-cut vote for Samus, and while she did take it in the end, I'm not exaggerating when I say that this fight caused the single most back-and-forth debate that we've ever had as a research team. What it ultimately came down to was a battle of stats versus abilities. Samus took the advantage over Pit in most every single stat category, although who has the higher degree of combat intelligence is debatable. That said, while Samus was a powerhouse with a decent amount of versatility, Pit had some less power and speed but had far deadlier options at his disposal. Samus was able to dish out and take a serious hit, whether that's blowing up enemies or surviving a nuclear explosion, and her durability was high enough that even when one-shotting an exact clone of himself, Pit would never be able to hurt her through conventional means. That said, he didn't really have to hurt her to win. If we assume that he led with an optimal winning strategy, all Pit would really need to do is hit her a single time with an instant kill ability or transmutation ability. That would basically guarantee him a win every single time a shot connected.
I really appreciate these win conditions. It's a really nice detail.
But all Samus needed to do was hit him twice for each life that his revives gave him, or just shoot him once ever with the Dark Burst to remove him from the battle. And this dynamic is made all the more dangerous for Pit when Samus can combine her lethal charge shots with the ability to shoot them rapid fire while maintaining near constant intangibility. While Pit's arrows traveling at light
I
speed
see.
would be incredibly hard to deal with, the speed at which he could maneuver his body around to fire those arrows was considerably lower, at 700 times the speed of sound. And while this number is impressive, it also pales in comparison to the speeds that we see Samus pulling when she jumped out of that ship at her maximum speed.
Holy crap.
In order to run to the back of the ship and still have time to fire, she would need to be running nearly 22,000 times the speed of sound.
I'm starting to
And when this
think
is given
Master
a
Chief
30%
doesn't
speed
stand a
increase
chance
from the
against her.
barrier suit and access to a 50% time slowdown, that gave Samus an effective combat speed of nearly 57,000 times the speed of sound. That
Jeez.
is more than enough to reliably dodge the aim of Pit's weapons. But even if it wasn't, we should take into account Samus's countersense. On average, this gives her around a third of a second's notice before an attack is fired. Pit can shoot his arrows about 90 meters, but in that third of a second, Samus would be able to blitz over 4,000 miles, which that's more than 90 meters. Now, Pit does have some options to mitigate this risk, such as abilities that allow him to automatically dodge attacks or use otherwise lethal damage to heal instead of dying. But as we said, if he was proving difficult to take out, Samus always just had the option of using her Dark Burst to pull him from battle and stick him in another dimension. That didn't mean that there was no risk to her though. Like I said, we kept going back and forth as a team because all it would take is one single attack or one single touch of his heart to force Samus to spend the rest of her life as a mallet or a tempura shrimp. And Pit had 8 extra lives on top of that to formulate the strategy. So it all came down to whether or not he'd be able to land an attack against someone who's so much faster than him and knows when his attacks are coming and specializes in avoiding attacks and launching a counterattack of her own at the same time. Now, depending on what strategy the fighters open with, this is a fight that could honestly go either way. But with Samus's overwhelming stats, we believe that she'd be able to get past Pit's options more often than not and take him out of the fight. So at the end of the day, Samus Aran is the winner and will be moving on to the next round.
Congratulations, Samus.
Next
put up a
time on
good
the
fight.
Smash Bracket.
Ooh, I hope everyone likes a good sequel. Get out of here, Steve. It's not you. Yeah, duh. Alrighty. I think, okay, barring the fact, obviously, that I was in the episode, I do think this is probably the best Smash Bracket episode we've gotten. And not only just because it's so long, too. Like, it goes into their stories and arsenals in a really awesome way, and I really like Cheetomon's animation here. It did a great job selling the impact and had some really neat choreography and some great variety with their weapons and such, and the personalities were nailed to a T as well because, I mean, oh my god, Pit's dialogue was so perfect. And so was Samus's too. They didn't make her completely mute, but she had only a couple lines, and I think that feels pretty in character for her as well. And plus at the very end, she checked to make sure that he was actually alive, which I think is also a pretty neat touch too, and is a way to make sure that's something this show definitely has over Death Battle. They have an easier time making people feel in character, especially those who don't kill. So kudos to them on that. And just like good job to everyone all around, and thank you Inc. for having me on this one. It was an honor and a blast. So thank you so much for having me on this episode, and thank you all so much for joining me on this reaction. I hope you all liked the video, and be sure to stay tuned for the next one. Take care.